Hi there, this is Rose Maple from Artistic Innovations in Eustis, Nebraska. Just wanted to show you how to make a potato stamp. I did this a couple days ago and it was a lot of fun. So let me tell you what we're going to need. You're going to need, first of all, a knife that is big enough to cut through a potato. I chose Idaho Russet. This one here is a bigger potato. This one here is a little bit rounder. I have some that I have cut already. This one here is a leaf, and I went ahead and I cut it in half, and then I cut down the sides of that, and then I made a bud. Is what I'm doing is I am doing some stamping on denim that is upcycled from blue jeans. You'll also need to have a small knife that is controllable for whenever you're doing the detail work. This isn't quite long enough to get all the way through, or you could, but you would have to kind of hack it a little bit. So a bigger blade is better for that. Let's get started here. To cut this, set it on its side, figure out how you want to have it. Do you want to have it, this is a little bit narrower, it's a little wider if you cut it that way. So it just depends on what you're after. I do use a fork, and make sure that you do this cleanly and safely and try to do it smoothly. Okay. Now is what we're going to do. We're going to set that one aside, and with this one here, I'm going to use this knife to draw a shape. I'm just going to draw a simple oval shape. Just do it lightly in case you don't do it right. If you do it lightly, you'll be able to fix it a little bit better. And once you've determined your shape, just go through and cut that off around there. Make sure you leave enough back here though, so you can stick a fork into it, or you might even be able to hang on to it depending on how that end works. Just be really careful whenever you do your cutting. Throw those into the compost and we will make some new soil out of them. Okay, we got our basic shape here. And now we're going to cut the small grooves in here to give it a little bit of detail. And I'm going to angle the blade at probably a 45 and not go down too far. You don't need to go down terribly far to do this part. And then just kind of work its way out a little bit. That's really about all that you need for that part. And then I'm going to take my blade and come through and angle it again. Anytime you're cutting toward yourself or toward your fingers, be very, very careful. Now let's do one more here. One thing about it, you could always cut it away, but once it's gone, you can't put it back. There's something kind of neat about doing a potato stamp. With my project initially, is what I was going to do was I was going to get some of those styrofoam stamps, but you know what? I could not find them at all. So, you know, this actually fits a little bit better, and it's a little bit more of that artistic feel to it. Whenever you do this cutting, just remember to angle it slightly. The nice thing about a potato is it cuts easily if you have a sharp knife. Don't try this with a dull knife. If you try this with a dull knife, you'll probably get cut because you're going to have to feel like you need to force it. And once you force it, that's when mistakes start to happen. All right, so we're looking pretty good here. I am going to clean out this one little area. There we go. Okay, so the inside of this is done. Now I'm going to make some little jaggedies on the outside to make it look like it is a little bit more of a serrated leaf. And I'm just going to cut some little triangles whenever I do this. This is the part too where we can make a little stem if we want to. Okay, so whenever you do your serrations, just make sure that you make it identical on the other side. You don't want your serrations to be pointing one way on one side and then pointing the other way on the other side, because you've held your potato at the wrong angle. Okay. Well, I think we're good on this one here. I'm going to get a little paper towel and you can see what it looks like dried off a bit. But this thing is ready to stamp. One thing too that I think is kind of nice about a potato stamp is it has a little level of moisture in there. So whenever you use it, you're able to utilize that moisture that's in there. Now, is what I did was I sacrificed some forks that we had in our fork drawer, or in our drawer, and they're really small. We don't really like using them for eating. So they went to live in the stamping kit, and it just makes a really nice handle where you can control it. And then whenever you do your stamping, you could put it down exactly where you want it after it's loaded up with ink. And then you can press it down, and then you could gently move it up and you can see what it did. Now I'm going to do one a little bit different. I'm going to do one here like the bud, but I'm going to use a slightly different technique here. All right, so I'm going to cut this one in half. Also notice how it browns. So if you want to keep these from browning, you can go ahead and put them in some water, and that will stop that end of the process. All right, for this one, let's do a flower. So I'm just going to come in here, and with my blade, I'm going to draw a flower. You probably can't see this, but I can barely see it, and that's